blame you for that. But the question that the audience will not forgive me for not asking is, well, are there some companies out there that we haven't heard of that we should be very excited about and following closely? I mean, I know what you're going to say. It's my duty to ask this question.
Well, if I could tell you the answer, that would be sort of counterproductive. So yes, there always are. It's always like what's true that nobody agrees with you on. You know, the entrepreneur version is what great business is nobody starting. You know, the investor version is always what great company are people missing. And so it's always the combination of a really good company and one that people are not talking about. And I'm probably always a little bit heavily biased towards the second half of that, trying to understand why is there a systematic blind spot that people are not talking about a business in one way or another. And there are the certain categories where I think people are too focused on, the others people are missing. In general, if you have large numbers of different investors, I can give a whole bunch of metrics, let's give a few. So if you have lots of different investors in a company, they will tend to talk about it a lot, and that will lead it to being overhyped. If you have sort of a single investor in a company, people often talk about it a lot less. And so one very simple screen would be the number of investors. The more investors you have, the more likely it is to be overhyped. There are all sorts of consumer companies where the product is one that investors would use. There are ones where it's a product investors would not use. I think I would be long Airbnb and short Uber as a relative value play because investors like being driven around in black town cars. Investors do not like sleeping on people's couches. And so there's sort of a way.
There's your tip.
You have sort of systematic
I got
blind
a tip
spots
out of him.
like this.
You know what to do in the morning.
There are, at Y Combinator in Silicon Valley,